And we're live. Hey, got there in the end. Sorry guys, I had to restart my browser there. Froze up on me for some reason. I think I'm live now. You okay, Tom? Can you see me and hear me okay? Tom, by the way, is my son living above in the chat there. My wingman. Can you see me, Tom? Just the two of us for now, though. I see you. Thank you very much, Curly Boy. Okay, welcome Soul Tribe, for those who tune in later. Thank you very much for joining me here on my channel, Daveberry75 Soul Tribe Productions. Great to see you all here. Certainly good to see you in, Tom. Right, so basically carrying on from the 7th Ray, Revealer of the New Age, chapter 10 is the last chapter. It's a big one, it's about a third of the book. So I'm going to be breaking it down into sections, probably 2, maybe 3. I'm not sure how long I'll stay on today for. Just wanted to pop on quick because I haven't been on for a little while. Apologise for not being on too often. Doing a lot of searching inwards at the moment on my own for the first time in a long time. Just getting used to that again, really. Nothing to worry about. Been keeping busy. Excuse the silence. Been keeping very busy in the background with different productions I'm working on to do with the Soul Tribe. And big plans coming, uniting Soul Tribes. As many groups as I can. We're uniting slowly. Don't just mean the immediate Soul Tribe for anybody joining in. Hi Chloe, great to see you. I did get your email, I just saw it now, lovely. I was going to reply to you after the show. I'm fine. Just doing a lot of inward searching at the moment. But I'm fine. Doing a lot of work in the background. Okay? Thank you very much for being here, Chloe. You're always here. And hello, KB. Thank you very much for joining me. Yeah, so I was just saying, I've been kind of doing a lot of work in the background at the moment. Online communities and what have you, Soul Tribes, Rainbow Warriors, trying to get things moving. You'll hear about it soon enough anyway. Hi Dark Truth, great to see you there. Thank you very much for joining me, guys. Good to see you all. Not sure how long I'll be on for. I didn't expect anybody to be here, to be honest. It's very good to see you all. I love you all very much. Well, it's just funny, I got my computer on, I got my phone on, and obviously real time. You've got a lag there, and there. Looks like I'm seeing echoes of myself. All right then. How are we doing in there? Yeah, so basically we got that much of the book left to do. Nice little chunk. It's chapter 10. And that's the effects of the incoming 7th ray. And it's titled Masonry. Yeah. We'll get started in a moment. I was going to go live at 5:30, but I don't know what happened. I just had to restart my browser and get it working again. Everybody in the chat living above is my eldest son, Thomas. Okay. My right-hand man, as my wife likes to call him. There we are. Tom, I just said for you, look. Very advanced for his age, guys. Very good at astral traveling. Anybody wants to ask him any questions on astral traveling, living above, my son is your man. He's teaching me. Honey, Tom. We are going to do a show together at some point as well, I hope. Where Tom's going to come on and give us a little bit of a chat about everything he knows about astral traveling. Everything seems to be working fine. Okay, still getting a hang of driving the bus. Okay, so we got chapter 10 of the 7th Ray, Revealer of the New Age. Let's start getting into it. And as I said, this chapter is titled Masonry. Sounds interesting. Have to tell me about that one when I see you tomorrow, Tom. That's living above, guys. It's always traveling in his sleep. Okay, so Masonry. I'll stop off there now. I do apologise for anybody who's tried to listen to this from chapter 1 to chapter 10 with all my ramblings at the beginnings and at the ends. Well done for sticking with it if you have made it this far. And I appreciate it. Thank you very much. Right, let's get into this. So we've got the effects of the incoming seventh ray. Under this seventh ray influence, the Masonic fraternity will come into a new pronounced spiritual activity and begin to approximate its true function and to fulfill its long-seen destiny. One point it might be of interest here to note. During the period of activity of the sixth ray, the fraternity fell into a crystallized and sectarian attitude, along with the many other grouped circles. It fell also into the snare of materialism, and the outer form has for centuries been of more importance in the eyes of Masons than the inner spiritual meaning. The symbols and the system of allegories have been emphasized, whilst that which they were intended to convey and to reveal to the initiated has been quite forgotten. Also, the trend of the attention of a lodge of Masons and the main emphasis has been potently placed on the function and place of the WM, and not upon the inner significance of the work upon the floor of the temple. The lodge has not been regarded as an integrated functioning entity. This must and will be changed, and the potency of the effectiveness of the lodge work and ceremonial will be demonstrated. It will be seen that in the regularity of the rituals and the sanctified formality of the ordained ceremonials lies the true meaning of the work and the use of the word. I've got somebody else's teeth in today, sorry. The coming era of group work and power of organized synthetic ritualistic activity will profoundly affect Masonry, as the importance of a central dominating figure passes out with the sixth ray influence and the true spiritual work and function of the lodge itself is understood. The seventh ray of ceremonial order or magic embodies a curious equality which is the outstanding characteristic of the particular life which ensouls this ray. It is the quality or principle which is the coordinating factor, unifying the inner quality and the outer tangible form or appearance. This work goes on primarily on etheric levels and involves physical energy. This is a true magical work. I should like to point out that when the fourth ray and the seventh ray come into incarnation together, we shall have a most peculiar period of revelation and of light bringing. It is said of this time that then the temple of the Lord will take on an added glory and the builders will rejoice together. This will be the high moment of the Masonic work, spiritually understood. The lost word will then be recovered and uttered for all to hear, and the Master will arise and walk among his builders in the full light of the glory which shines from the east. The spiritualizing of forms might be regarded as the main work of the seventh ray, and it is this principle of function, of coordination, and of blending which is active on etheric levels every time a soul comes into incarnation and a child is born on earth. The end of that section. Don't forget that each one of these this book is broken down into little quotes from other books. That's why I stop every now and again in between each one. It's not a straight A to B finish. Read. Everybody okay now? Well done on finishing the Pringles, Tom. Thank you very much. We finished all the tangles. It's a lot. Right, next section. Masonry, being on the first ray and emanating consequently from Shambhala, aids the process of visualization. It gives colour and performance of a tangible kind to inner subjective activity. Visualization is a powerful agent in the evocation of the creative imagination. Let me here give you a hint. If you use this idea in the planning of the work which you seek to do for the hierarchy and for which we are seeking to hold you responsible, and if you carry into all the works the ideal of ritual, of rhythm, of energy distribution, you will evoke a synthetic pattern, a unified procedure, and a harmonious working out of the plan. The mysteries will restore colour and music as they essentially are the world, and do it in such a manner that the creative art of today will be to this new creative art what a child's building of wooden blocks is to a great cathedral, such as Durham or Milan. The mysteries, when restored, will make real, in a sense incomprehensible to you at present, the nature of religion, the purpose of science, and the goal of education. These are not what you think today. Big hint there, guys. The ground is being prepared at this time for this great restoration. The churches and masonry are today before the judgment seat of humanity's critical mind, and the word has gone forth from the mass mind that both of them failed in their divinely assigned tasks. It is realized everywhere that new life must be poured in, and great changes wrought in the awareness and in the training of those who work through and in these two media of truth, that's science and religion. Those changes have not yet been carried out, for it will take a new vision and a new approach to life experience, and this only the coming generation is capable of giving. They and they alone can bring about the needed alterations and the revelations, but it can and will be done. That which is a mystery shall no longer be so, and that which has been veiled will now be revealed. That which has been withdrawn will emerge into the light, and all the men shall see together, they shall rejoice. That time will come when desolation has wrought its beneficent work, when all things have been destroyed, and when through suffering have sought to be impressed by that which they have discarded in vain, pursuit of that which was near hand and easy of attainment, possessed it, provide to be an agency of death, yet men sought life, not death. So runs the old commentary when referring to the present cycle through which mankind is passing. Not sure if I want to comment on that section. That's a really important section, actually, on a lot of what's been going on in history, leading up to the moment we're in now, and what the plans are coming. The science and religion, they were basically tasked going out and achieving goals that were unachievable. They were destined to fail, so that we could end up at a point of rediscovery of things that we had lost, but are so fantastical to the mundane that they would never be believed unless these other options were kind of played out first, I guess you could say. Don't really want to go into too deep a story on that one, but there's a lot to dig into on that section if anybody wants to, or if anybody knows what I'm talking about already. But yeah, science from a religion. They will unite again, I feel. Right, so the next section, the mineral kingdom. The Ray of Ceremonial Order also, before I do that, as it stated there at the end, it's not for our generation to do this work, it's for the generations coming. They're the ones with the templates, they're the ones with, what's the word? Like templates, They're the ones with the built-in knowledge to access to be able to fulfill these tasks that are coming. Basically, the Rainbow Warriors that different peoples have spoken about that will bring the changes to the earth from different creeds, different nationalities, different religions. They will hold the keys, if you will, to bring about the changes in the world through the technologies that we can use in a spiritual way, not just in a materialistic way. Sure, we're here to guide the future generations to this, if we choose to, if there's enough of us, which I'm trying to do. Or at least certainly trying to help along the way, like uniting soul tribes, rainbow warrior tribes, however you want to put it. So yeah, the future's going to be bright if we make it bright. Okay, but we can all do it together. Better get back on with the book. So the next section of the book, the material kingdom. The Ray of Ceremonial Order has special significance. I'm sure I'm not saying that right. Significance at this time. It controls life in the mineral world and in the final stages of evolutionary life, at the point where the upward turn of evolution is made. Through ceremonial order comes the control of the lesser builders, the elemental forces, the point of synthesis in the lowest plane of all. The period of transition. In all such periods, the seventh ray comes in, as now, the ray of law and order, of accurate arrangement and formation. It is the reflection on the physical plane of the power of activity aspects working in synthesis. Rays 1, 3, and 7 have an interplay, as we know. Ray 7 is the appearance in combination of the forces of evolution. It is the manifestation of power and activity on the lowest plane of all. It is allied to the laws of the third and seventh planes, disintegration and death, for all periods of transition are periods of the destruction and building of forms, and the shattering of the old in order that newer and better chalices of life may be constructed. Okay, Tom, living above, I'll see you later, okay? Thank you for coming, son. I'll see you soon. Bye, love. The influence of the organizing seventh ray is best seen in the amazing and geometrical perfect structure of the elements, as revealed by the microscope and by the study of the atom. As this treatise is intended for the reader who has no academic or scientific training, it will suffice to say that the mineral kingdom is a result of the ritual of rhythm, as are all the basic forms upon which the myriad of structures in manifestation are constructed and founded. The system of numbers demonstrates in its fullest beauty in this kingdom, and there is no form and no numerological relation which cannot be discovered in minute form in this foundational kingdom. Under the occult microscopic vision, two factors determine the structure found in the mineral kingdom. Number 1, the seventh great impulse, or the will to organize. 2, the urge to create, or the initial rhythm which led the solar logos to take form. The work of the seventh lord and of the first lord is essentially the work of the architect and of the magician, and their efforts are seen to perfection in the mineral world. This will not, however, be realized in full potency and magical revelation until the inner eye of true vision is developed, and the forms underlying the creative work in the other kingdoms in nature are seen in their real values. Then we've got a little chart. So we've got number 1, the mineral kingdom, influence. The seventh ray of organization and the first ray of power are the dominant factors. The result, the evolutionary results, are radiation and potency, a static potency underlying the rest of the natural scheme. Process, condensation. Its secret, transmutation. The treatise on cosmic fire defines this as follows. Transmutation is the passage across from one state of being to another through the agency of fire. Purpose, to demonstrate the radioactivity of life. Divisions, base metals, standard metals, precious stones. Objective agency, sound. Quality, extreme density, inertia, brilliance. Students must remember that we are not dealing with the elements, the atoms, as we study this kingdom. They are the substance out of which all the mineral forms are made, but we are dealing with the mineral forms as they manifest in the concrete world. We are considering the tangible and objective world, the internal constitution and geometrical formation of the minerals do not come under our subject matter. This is not a scientific treatise as usually understood, but a study in quality and consciousness as they affect the form aspect. Much, if not nearly all, the exoteric science has posited regarding the mineral kingdom can, for ordinary uses, be accepted as relative fact. But 2 points should be considered, and they are: 1, the consciousness aspect of the mineral world; 2, the transmutation of forms by fire in that kingdom, leading to an ultimate radiation. The best known example of the effect of the initiation of the mineral the best known example of the effect of the initiation of the mineral by fire can be seen in the great transition and transformation allotropically brought about from the carbon stage to that of the perfect diamond. A further qualitative stage can be seen as the radiation or the throwing off of rays as in radium. That there are 3 stages in the evolutionary process in the mineral kingdom must be borne in mind, and these, though apparently unrelated to each other from the angle of modern science, are nevertheless subjectively and essentially part of a tremendous inner process. These stages are the correspondences in the mineral kingdom to the stages of animal consciousness, of self-consciousness, and of the radiant group consciousness of the soul. There is a 4th stage of potency, or of organized expressed power, but this lies ahead, and is the analogy in this kingdom to the life of the monad, as expressed in the solar consciousness of the initiates of high degree. That's what I've been learning about. Just as science has discovered the 92 elements so that the list of the possible elements is relatively complete, so eventually science will have arranged the progressive tables which will show the 3 stages of the life cycle of every mineral, leading from the static mineral stage, such as carbon, through that of the crystal, semi-precious stone, and precious stone to that of the radioactive substance. In the determining of this development, it is impossible for man as yet to see the relation, for the cycles covered are so vast, the action of the fire in these tremendous periods so varying, and the recognition of the intermediate stages so difficult, that I could say would but feed amusement and incredulity. But 2 basic premises can be laid down. Number 1, that the many mineral substances fall naturally into 7 main groups, corresponding to the 7 subdivisions of the influencing rays, those of the organization and power. And 2, that only those world cycles when the 7th ray is in manifestation and therefore supremely powerful, do certain hidden changes take place in these 7 groups. These are the correspondences in the mineral evolution to the 7 initiations of man. All these times there is an increased radiatory activity. This can be noted at this time in the discovery of radioactive substance as the incoming ray increases its potency decade by decade. A certain amount of radiation is basic and fundamental in any world cycle. But when the seventh ray comes in and there is an intensification of that radiation and new substances appear to come into new activity, this intensification leaves the entire mineral kingdom as a whole more radioactive than before until this increased radiation becomes in its turn basic and fundamental. As the seventh ray passes cyclically out of manifestation, a certain measure of inertia settles down on the kingdom, though that which is radiatory continues its activity. In this way, the radiation of the mineral world steadily increases as the cycle comes and goes, and there is necessarily a paralleling effect upon the higher three kingdoms. People today have no idea what effect this radiation, due to the incoming ray, will have, not only upon the surrounding mineral world, but on the vegetable kingdom, which has its roots in the mineral kingdom, and upon men and minerals in lesser degree. The power of the incoming cosmic rays has called forth the more easily recognized radioactivity with which modern science is now concerned. It was three seventh ray disciples who interpreted these rays to man. I refer to the Curies and to Millikan. Being themselves on the seventh ray, they had the necessary psychic equipment and responsiveness to enable them intuitively to recognize their own ray vibration in the mineral kingdom. The seventh ray is one of organized ritual, and in form building, this quality is basic and necessary. The processes found in the mineral kingdom are profoundly geometrical. The first ray is that of dynamic will or power, and speaking symbolically, when perfected, forms and organized vehicles and dynamic power are related and unified, then we shall have a full expression. At the point of deepest and densest concentration of the mind of God in form, with a radiation which will be dynamically effective. Again, speaking symbolically, and what else is possible when dealing with a mechanism as yet so inadequate as the mind and brain of the average aspirant, the mineral kingdom marks a point of unique condensation. This is produced under the action of fire and by the pressure of the divine idea. Esoterically speaking, we have in the mineral world the divine plan hidden in the geometry of the crystal, and God's radiant beauty stored in the color of a precious stone. In miniature, at the lowest point of manifestation, we find the divine concepts working out. The goal of the universal concept is seen when the jewel rays forth its beauty and when radium sends forth its rays, both destructive and constructive. If you could really understand the history of a crystal, you would enter into the glory of God. If you could enter into the attractive and repulsive consciousness of a piece of iron or lead, you would see revealed the complete story of evolution. If you could study the hidden processes which go on under the influence of fire, you would enter into the secret of initiation. When the day comes when the history of the mineral kingdom can be grasped by the illumined seer, he will then see the long road that the diamond has travelled, and by analogy, the long road all sons of God traverse, governed by the same laws and unfolding the same consciousness. Excuse me. The seventh ray, when manifesting on the seventh plane, as is now the case, is peculiarly potent, and its effect upon the mineral kingdom is consequently dynamically felt. If it is true that there is only one substance and one spirit, that matter is spirit at the lowest point of its cyclical activity, and spirit is matter at its highest, then the ray of ceremonial order or ritual is but an expression of its polar opposite. The first ray of will or power is the expression of the same potency under another aspect. This means, therefore, that the power or will of God expresses itself through the organized, systemized processes of the seventh ray. The geometrical faculty of the universal mind finds its most material perfection on the physical or seventh plane, working through the seventh ray. So the mineral kingdom came into being as its major expression. It holds in solution all the forces and those chemicals and minerals which are needed by the forms in other mineral kingdoms. The mineral kingdom is therefore the most concrete expression of dual unity of power and order. It constitutes the foundation of the ordered physical structure or the universe of our planet. The rhythmic, ritualistic adaptability of the seventh ray, plus the dynamic will of the power ray, are needed in conjunction with the full working out of the plan, as it is founded in the mind of God. This is why, in this present period of transition, the Lord of the seventh ray is taking over the control of affairs and the ordered working out of the plan, so as eventually to restore stability to the planet and give the incoming Aquarian influences a stable and extended field in which to work. This we shall later elaborate when we take up the study of the zodiacal signs and their relation to the rays. We shall now touch upon the next 2 points, condensation and its hidden secret, transmutation. From the standpoint of external matter, the mineral kingdom marks the point of densest expression of the life of God in substance, and its outstanding through often unrealized characteristic is imprisoned or unexpressed power. Speaking in symbols, a volcano in eruption is a mild expression of this power. From the standpoint of esoteric substance, the 4 ethers are far more dense and substantial. This modern science has also told us, positing the hypothetical ether, this fifth kingdom, counting occultly from the egoic kingdom downwards, is a reflection of these 4 ethers, and the point of their densest concentration. Just as they substand or form the basis of the manifested world, and are regarded as the true forms, so the mineral kingdom is the fundamental kingdom in the 3 worlds under the law of correspondences. It is in a most peculiar sense precipitated etheric substance, and is a condensation or externalization of the etheric planes. This solidification or precipitation, resulting in the production of dense objective or solid matter, is the tangible result of the interplay of the energies and qualities of the first and seventh rays. Their united will and order rhythm have produced this earth and the molten content of the planet regarding the earth as the crust. In the turning of the great wheel cycle after cycle, these 2 rays come into functioning activity, and in between their objective cycles, the other rays dominate and participate in the great work. The result of this interplay of psychic potencies will manifest in the eventual transmutation of the earth substance and its resolution back again into that of which it is the objective condensation. Again, language fails to find the needed terms. They are as yet non-existent. I mention this as an indication of the difficulty of our subject. Intangible etheric substances has been condensed into the dense tangible objective world. This, under the evolutionary plan, has to be again transmuted into its original condition, plus the gain of ordered rhythm and the tendencies and qualities wrought into the consciousness of its atoms and elements through the experience of externalization. This resolution is noted by us as radiation and the radioactive substances. We are looking on at the transmutation process. The resolving agencies are fire, intense heat, and pressure. These three agencies have already succeeded in bringing about the divisions of the mineral kingdom into three parts. The baser metal they are called the standard metals, such as silver and gold and platinum, and the semi-precious stones, the crystals. The precious jewels are synthesis of all three, one of the basic synthesis of evolution. In this connection, some correspondences between the mineral kingdom and the human evolutionary cycle might here be noted. Number one, the base metals, physical plane, dense consciousness, the first initiation. Number two, the standard metals, astral plane, self-consciousness, the second initiation. Three, the semi-precious stones, mental plane, radiant consciousness, the third initiation. Four, the precious jewels, egoic consciousness and achievement, the fourth initiation. The correspondences of fire, heat, and pressure in their evolution of the human being are self-evident, and their work can be seen paralleling that in the mineral kingdom. The mineral kingdom is governed astrologically by Taurus, and there is a symbolic relation between the eye in the head of the bull, the third eye, the light in the head of the diamond. The consciousness of the Buddha has been called the diamond eye. And that's the end of that little section. Animals next. See how we're doing. Hi, Michelle Cannon-Free. Great to see you. Thank you for joining us. Very good to see you. Appreciate you. Appreciate all of you. Very grateful for you all turning up. And Christy Schaefer, I'm not actually sure what I said. Hello to you, lovely. Hello. Thank you for coming. Appreciate you all. You should all know that by now. I love you all very much. Okay, Michelle, thank you for joining me. Sorry if I'm talking a bit quietly. Hi, Jules. Thank you very much for coming, lovely. Good to see you. Appreciate you all coming, even if you don't stop too long. I know it's a heavy book, so it's not one maybe for listening to all the time. Okay, let's go on to the next chapter. And the next quote, that's the animals. The incoming seventh ray and the animal kingdom. Number one, the animal kingdom is to the human body what the dense physical body is to the seven principles. Number two, the animal kingdom is the mother aspect prior to the overshadowing of the Holy Ghost. Three, the animal kingdom is the field of individualization. Four, since Atlantean days, the animal kingdom has been occupied with the development of karma. 5. Domestic animals constitute the heart center in the life of the entire entity who ensouls the animal kingdom. 6. The animal kingdom does not react strongly to the seventh ray. 7. The human kingdom does, but the seventh ray will have three effects in relation to the two kingdoms and their interplay. A. It will refine the animal bodies. B. It will bring about a closer relation between men and animals. And C. It will cause a great destruction of the present animal forms. That's all that. The seventh ray influence will have three definite effects upon the fourth and third kingdoms in nature. These are as follows. All animal bodies will be steadily refined, and in the case of humanity, consciously refined, and so brought to a higher and more specialized state of development. This is today proceeding with a rapidity. Diet and athletics, open air and sunshine are doing much for the race, and in the next 2 generations, fine bodies and sensitive natures will make their appearance and the soul will have far better instruments through which to work. 2. The relation between the human and the animal kingdoms will become increasingly close. The service of the animal to man is well recognized and of ceaseless expression. The service of man to animals is not yet understood, through some steps in the right direction are being taken. There must eventually be a close synthesis and sympathetic coordination between them, and when this is the case, some very extraordinary occurrences of animal mediumship under the human inspiration will take place. By means of this, the intelligent factor of the animal, of which instinct is the embryonic manifestation, will be rapidly developed, and this is one of the outstanding results in the intended human-animal relationship. 3. There will be a consequence of this quickened evolution and rapid destruction of certain types of animal bodies. Very low-grade human bodies will disappear, causing a general shift in the racial types towards a higher standard. Many species of animals will also die out and are today disappearing, and hence the increasing emphasis upon the preservation of animals and the establishing of game preserves. Much of profound interest is on its way as a result of this seventh ray activity. For one thing, though, the animal kingdom reacts but little to this type of influence, yet there are going to be very defined results within the soul of the animal form. The door of individualization, or entrance into the human kingdom, has been closed since Atlantean times, but under the new influence it will be partially opened. It will be set ajar so that a few animals will respond to soul stimulation and discover that their rightful place is on the human side of the dividing door. Part of the reorganization, which will go on as a result of a seventh ray activity, will concern the relation of humanity to the animal kingdom and the establishing of better and closer relations. This will lead men to take advantage of another aspect of the seventh ray, which is its power to refine the matter out of which the forms are built. The animal body of man has received much scientific attention during the past 100 years, and medicine and surgery have reached great heights of achievement. The framework of man has his body and its internal systems, with their diverse rituals, are now understood as never before, and this has been the result of the incoming ray force with its power to apply knowledge to the magical world. When this knowledge is applied intensively to the animal world, much new and interesting data will be discovered. When the differences between the physical bodies of the animals and those of humanity have been more closely investigated, there will appear a new and very fruitful field of study. These differences are largely in the realm of the nervous system. Not enough attention has been paid, for instance, to the fact that the brain of the animal is really in the region of the solar plexus, whilst the human brain, the controlling agent, is in the head and works through the medium of the spinal column. When scientists know exactly why the animal does not use the brain in the head, as does man, they will arrive at a fuller knowledge of the law governing cycles. It's interesting. Hey Al, great to see you. And Trina, hey guys, nice to see you. Thank you very much for joining me. Appreciate that. Good to see you guys. Be careful driving. Trina, be careful. And you, Al, if you're driving. I think you've vacation's over now, is it, Al? Well, be careful, guys. If anybody's driving, please keep your eyes on the road for years on me. Right. Well, it says B, but I don't remember there being a name. Didn't say A, did I? Okay, B. Animals and human beings and the rays. We will now take upon 2 points and study the effect of the incoming force on the human and animal kingdoms. These points are of profound interest to the occult student for two reasons. The topic we have now to consider is the effect of the incoming seventh ray during the coming centuries upon the animal kingdom and the Deva evolution. The profundity of the interested lies in the fact that in the one case we are dealing with the evolution immediately behind the human, and from which man is not as yet wholly emancipated, and in the other we are concerning ourselves with the paralleling evolution, and one that is of very important in the scheme of things. I'm sure I forget how to speak English sometimes. I do apologise, guys. Let us take up first the seventh ray and its effect upon the animal kingdom. The effect upon the animal kingdom of the force of this ray will be far less than upon the human, for it is not yet ready to respond to the vibration of this planetary logos, and will not be until the sixth round when his influence will bring about great events. Nevertheless, certain effects might here be noticed. Owing to the increased activity of the Deva evolution, and especially of the Devas of the ethers, the lesser builders will be stimulated to build, within greater facility, bodies of a more responsive nature, and the etheric bodies of both men and animals, and also their responsiveness to force or prana, will be more adequate. During the sixth subrace, disease as we know it in both kingdoms will be materially lessened, owing to the pranic response to the etheric bodies. This will likewise bring about changes in the dense physical body, and the bodies of both men and animals will be smaller, more refined, more finely attuned to vibration, and consequently more fitted to express essential purpose. It's interesting. So why we're not giants anymore, is it? The smaller body is more finely tuned. Owing to the recognition by man of the value of mantrams and his gradual comprehension of the true ceremonial of evolution, coupled with the use of sound and colour, the animal kingdom will be better understood and better trained, considered and utilised. Indications of this already can be seen, for instance, in all our current magazines at this time, stories which deal with the psychology of animals and with their mental attitude to man are constantly appearing, and by the means of these and through the force of incoming ray, man may, if he cares to do so, come to a much wider sympathy with his brothers of lesser degree. Thus, by the tuning by man of this, let's try that again. Thus, by the turning by man of his thought force upon the animal, stimulation of their latent mental. One second. I'm 46 now. See if I do any better now. Right. Thus, by the turning of man of his thought force upon the animals, stimulation of their latent mentality will ensue, leading in due course of time to the crisis in the next round. More attention should be paid by occult students to the effect of their consciousness of one group upon another group, and the advancement of the lesser by the means of the stimulating power of the greater should be studied. That was the end of that one. Okay, next section is the divas. Our subject for immediate consideration concerns the diva evolution and the effect of the incoming ray upon them. The first point to be noted is that this influence, as this time, affects primarily the divas of the physical plane, the divas of the ethers or of the shadows, and they are sometimes called, and not to the same extent, the divas of the astral or mental planes. Every ray affects in more or less degree the plane of or subplane, which is its numerical correspondence. The student should bear this in mind and should therefore recollect that for all purpose of investigation at this time, the seventh ray of ceremonial magic will have a powerful influence on the seventh or physical plane, regarding it as a unit, on the seventh subplane or the lowest subplane, on the physical, the astral, and the mental planes, on the seventh or lowest human principle prana in the etheric body, on all monads in incarnation who are seventh ray monads, on a peculiar group of divas who are the agents or mediates between magicians, either white or black, and the elemental forces. This group is occultly known as the mediatory seventh and is divided into two divisions. A, those working with evolutionary forces, and B, those working with involutionary forces. One group is the agent of constructive purpose and the other of destructive. More need not be submitted anent this group, as they are not easily contacted. Fortunately for man, and can as yet only be reached by a peculiar group ritual accurately performed, a thing as yet but particularly unknown. Good thing by the sound of it. The Masons eventually will be one of the chief agents of contact, and as men are as yet not ready for such power as this will put into their hands, true Masonry will develop but slowly. Nevertheless, under the magnetic force of the seventh ray, the growth of Masonry is inevitably sure. The ray of ceremonial magic will consequently have a very profound effect upon the physical plane, for not only is this plane coming under its cycle force, but at all times its planetary logos has a special effect upon it. The Raja Lord of this plane is what is occultly termed the reflection in the water of chaos of the planetary logos. Hence, in the matter of this plane, which is the body of the Raja Lord. Certain very definite events are occurring which, though invisible to the ordinary man, are apparent to the eye of the spiritual man or adept. The matter of the plane becomes receptive to positive forces, for the feminine or diva aspect, being negative, becomes responsive to the positive energy of the heavenly man. This energy, finding the line of least resistance, pours into the substance of the plane or the substantial body of the Diva Lord. Owing to the receptive condition of this body, it follows certain lines and produces definitely constructive results. Constructive results transpire in the negative etheric matter of the plane and on the four higher subplanes. On the lower three, a contrary effect is produced. And the energy of the heavenly man will lead to the destruction of form, preparatory to the building work. The building ever originates on and proceeds from etheric levels. Cataclysms of the worldwide nature will occur during the next 1,000 years. Continents will be shaken, lands will be raised and submerged, culminating in the profound material disaster which will overtake the world towards the close of the fourth branch race of the sixth sub-race. This will usher in the infant sixth root race. The divas of the ethers, with which we are most concerned, will be affected in several ways, and the results upon the other evolutions will be far-reaching. We must remember always that the divas are the qualities and attributes of matter, these active builders who work consciously or unconsciously upon the plane. Here I would point out that all the divas of the higher levels of the mental plane, for instance, and of the systematic planes from there on to the center, the diva plane and the plane of the logos, sometimes called Adi, cooperate consciously and are of high rank in the system and of position equal to all the ranks and grades of the hierarchy from a first degree initiate up to, but not including, the Lord of the world himself. Below these higher levels, where the concrete is touched, we have lesser grades of divas who work unconsciously, with the following exceptions, who are conscious forces and entities of high position. Okay, so we have A, the Raja Lord of a plane. B, 7 divas who work under him and are entities who inform the matter of the 7 subplanes. C, 14 representatives of the rays who cycle into and out of power according to the ray waxing or waning. D, 4 divas who are the plane representatives of the 4 Maharajas, the lords of karma, and are the focal points for karmic influences in connection with man. The 4 Maharajas are the dispensers of karma to the heavenly man, and thus to the cells, centers, and organs of his body necessarily. But the whole system works through graded representatives. The same laws govern these agents of plane karma as govern the systemic and cosmic. And during plane manifestation, they are, for instance, the only unit in form permitted to pass beyond the plane, ring pass not. All other units in manifestation on a plane have to discard the vehicle through which they function before they can pass on to subtler levels. The Diva evolution will, through the 7th ray force, have much to do with the transmission of prana to units of the 3 higher kingdoms of nature, and this easier transmission from the etheric levels of the physical plane will parallel a correspondingly easier transmission of spiritual or physical force from the 4th cosmic ether, the Buddhic plane. The results of this pranic transmission will be more healthy physical bodies among the sons of men. This need not be looked for at this time, and will only begin to be noticeable about 300 years hence, when the incoming 7th ray egos will be numerically strong enough to be recognized as the prevailing type for a certain period. Their physical bodies, owing to their being built for 7th ray force, will respond more readily than the others through 1st ray egos and 5th ray egos, will benefit enormously from this influence. The etheric divas will build during a peculiarly favorable period. The physical bodies then constructed will be distinguished by resilience, enormous physical magnetism, ability to reject false magnetism, capacity to absorb solar rays, great strength and resistance, a delicacy and refinement in appearance as yet unknown. The etheric levels of the plane will be full of an increased activity, and slowly but surely, as the decades slip away, man will become conscious of these levels and aware of their inhabitants. The immediate effect of this greater etheric energy will be that a numerically larger number of people will possess etheric vision and will be able to normally and naturally to live consciously on etheric levels. The majority of men only function consciously on the three lower levels of the physical: the gaseous, the liquid, and the dense, and the etheric levels are sealed to them, as are the astral. In the coming centuries, man's normal habitat will be the entire physical plane, up to, though not including, the second subplane. The fourth and third etheric levels will be familiar to him as the usual physical landscape to which he is now accustomed. The center of attention of medical and scientific students will be focused on the etheric body, and the dependency of the physical body upon the etheric body will be recognized. This will change the attitude of the medical profession, and magnetic healing and vibratory stimulation will supersede the present methods of surgery and drug assimilation. Got some plans on that one. Man's vision, being then normally etheric, will have the effect of forcing him to recognize that which is now called the unseen world, so the superphysical or the superphysical. Men in their etheric bodies will be noted and communicated with, and the devas and elements of the ethers will be studied and recognized. When this is so, then the true use of ceremonial ritual as a protection and safeguard to man will assume its right place. The work of the devas in connection with the animal and the vegetable kingdoms will be likewise recognized, and much that is now possible through ignorance will become impossible and obsolete. The time will come when the attitude of man to the animal kingdom will be revolutionized, and the slaughter, ill treatment, and that form of cruelty called sport will be done away with. Excellent. A mysterious change in the attitude of men and women to the sex question, marriage, and the work of procreation will result from the development of etheric vision and the consequent recognition of the devas. This change will be this change will be based on the realization of the true nature of matter, or of the mother aspect, and of the effect of the sun upon substance. The unity of life will be a known and scientific fact, and the life in matter will no longer be a theory, but a fundamental of science. This cannot be enlarged upon here. So we do it. Okay. That was the end of that section, guys. It's been just about an hour, or just under an hour. I'm going to call it a day there. Like I said, chapter 10's a biggie. We still got quite a lot to go in the chapter. I would like it if you guys can understand what I'm saying, and I think it's going to go downhill from here on, to be honest. So yeah, it's quite a lot to wrap your mind around there. If you think on what I've read out there. That's the thing about this book. There's a lot of deep information in there, a lot of deep esoteric information in there. We got anybody left in there? Yep, still 7 of you there. Thank you for sticking with me this far. Yeah, there's a lot of deep esoteric knowledge and wisdom in this book. So if anybody does have any questions about anything I've read, to be honest, sometimes I'm reading it and I'm like, what the hell am I reading? And I pretty much know what it's saying, but as I'm going, it can be very confusing, I know. So yeah, if anybody has any questions, email me. My email address is in the descriptions at the bottom. think I put it in there. If I haven't, it's in my channel in the about section, davidberry80@googlemail.com. It's not a hard one to remember. Make a mark there where we are. Don't want to lose my spot. There we go. Okay. Not too sure when I'll be popping on next to do a bit more of the book. I do have some other plans for a few more videos I would like to do. Sure if now is the right time to say it, because now everybody will watch this video. Thank you very much, Chloe, for staying. Thank you very much, KB.